Today I'm reviewing the Moondrop Horizon open back dynamic driver headphones. These are interesting, so stick around. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. And yeah, I've got to say, these are very, very interesting when it comes to aesthetics. I mean, just check them out. They look unique and I think they look fantastic. Another thing that you'll notice straight away if you handle these is just how lightweight they are. These are one of the lightest headphones that I have. Now that has been the cause of some complaints among some people, some users. They think that the clamping force is too light and therefore the fit is not all that secure. Personally, I haven't had a problem, but having said that, I have only used these at my desktop, so I haven't used them moving around. I don't think they're designed for, movement. But if you're just sitting down in a listening chair or at a desktop like this, I think you'll be fine. And in terms of comfort, they are fantastic. So you couple that extreme lightweight with this nice wide sort of velour headband here, and the big cushy ear pads, the low clamping force, and this is a recipe for maximum comfort. So you can wear these all day long without any issues whatsoever, unless you're dancing or flopping your head around, and then you might have some stability issues. But for me, I absolutely love the fit and the aesthetic. So they're built around this fenestrated headband here. It's pretty thin, but yeah, it feels sturdy enough. These ear cups are metal, obviously. You've got this nice decorative metal grill on there. When it comes to how they feel in the hand, it's sort of a mixture between chintzy and premium. I mean, when you pick them up, they're so lightweight and they're kind of loose because the clamping force is so soft. It feels like a bit cheap, but then when you feel the ear cups and the headband and this head strap, oh man, there does have some elements of premium as well, especially the ear cups. So it really is quite an interesting headphone. Now, in terms of the driver, it's a 50mm dynamic driver. These are also super easy to drive. We're talking 32 ohms impedance and 109 decibels of sensitivity. So yeah, super easy to drive. You can run these perfectly with a dongle DAC or any low powered DAP, etc. You don't need any special amplification. They don't really tend to scale that much with better amplification either. Having said that, I have experienced certain pairings that worked better than others, but I don't want to get into that now because I've got my special sauce over there that I haven't reviewed yet and haven't spoken about, so that'll be coming up very soon. But I want to dive right into the sound now. So how does the Moondrop Horizon sound? If you've been following these headphones online, you've probably seen mixed feelings about them. I am leaning more towards the positive side. They are not game-changing when it comes to audio quality. However, in my opinion, they don't do anything in particular wrong. So what are the cons that people have been talking about? First of all, there is a sub-bass roll-off. So if you're looking for really deep, powerful sub-bass rumble, it's not here. You won't find it here. Having said that, the extension is decent. Like you do hear those low tones, but they're just sort of in the background and kind of light. The mid-bass as well, it is, I would say, look, fairly thick in terms of note size, but not all that much impact in sort of physical impact. But I don't find the mid-range missing. I don't really find the sub-bass lacking either, except when I'm sort of looking for it in particular. But I must admit, it would have been nice to have a bit more power in the ultra lows. That would have been pretty tasty. But let's talk about the mid-range now. And the mids are kind of the meat in the sandwich for the Horizon. That I know that doesn't make any sense. What I'm saying is the mids are the focal point. They are probably its strongest point as well. So you get this lush, rich mid-range, pretty sultry and very silky and organic. Pretty good timbre in the mids. And look, the clarity isn't great. There is a little bit of I wouldn't say it's veiled, but there's definitely some underlying warmth to the mid-range. Not the most detailed or nuanced. However, it does sound very organic and natural, and from vocals to instruments, guitars, pianos, string instruments, it all sounds pretty right, if you know what I mean. And finally, let's talk about the treble now. And the treble is another area of contention with the Horizon here. People are saying it is too laid back and not energetic or bright enough. I definitely see where they're coming from with that statement, and I would tend to agree. The highs are very, very smooth. They're not especially crisp. They're not especially detailed. However, the timbre is quite good. The crash cymbals and hi-hats sound fairly lifelike and realistic, but there's nothing really in the way of sparkle. There is a bit of a lack of energy, but that does a couple of things. It helps the mid-range really come forward. So these are definitely a mid-centric headphone. A little bit of extra treble energy would have been appreciated, just like a little bit of sort of extra power in the lows. So overall, it's not the most dynamic headphone. What it is very smooth, very non-fatiguing, great for all-day listening. And when it comes to soundstage, even though you have that fairly subdued treble, the stage is reasonably wide and it has good forward depth in the stage as well. So it's a nice rounded sort of area space, that perceived space that it creates. I think the imaging is pretty strong despite being such a mid-forward presentation. It actually does good spatial representation within the soundstage. And I think the overall resolution is pretty good too. Like, it doesn't sound congested or muddied, or it doesn't sort of fall apart under pressure, if you will. But yeah, decent technical performance. All right, let's do a couple of comparisons. I'll start with the Kiwi Ears Altru here, and I actually can't remember the price. I'll have to check that first. Wow, they're actually only like $69. Oh, I forgot how cheap they were. That was part of the reason why I was so enthusiastic about these, because for $70, these are pretty outstanding. But compared to the Horizon here, the Altru is a little bit more lively, a little bit brighter. It has, I'd say, a little bit extra bass presence, not too much, pretty similar. The mid-range isn't quite as forward as it is on the Horizon. The treble is a little bit more energetic, a little bit more, not quite sparkly, but leaning closer towards that direction. The Altru is also a very lightweight and very comfortable headphone. Actually, very similar in terms of weight, but yeah, it's got these plastic ear cups, and it doesn't feel quite as premium in the hand, but definitely a fantastic open back headphone, especially if you are on a budget. All right, let's pull in something going the other way in terms of price. That is the Sennheiser HD650. And I think this is a pretty relevant comparison because these actually sound somewhat similar. But I'd say the HD650 has a bit more meat in the mid bass, probably even has a little bit of extra sub bass presence too, although it also has that sub bass roll off like the Horizon does. When it comes to build quality, well, you can't argue with the HD6XX series. They are extremely well built, although they are plastic, with metal grills on the ear cups, but super good build quality. And the fit of the HD650 is a bit tighter. It's got more clamping force and it does fit more securely on your head. But I'd say the HD650 has a little bit more treble energy. It's got a slightly wider soundstage, better resolution overall, I would say, although it's pretty close. Overall, however, I would say the HD650 does pull ahead of the Moondrop Horizon, but it also does cost I think about $50 or maybe even $100 more, I don't recall. And I forgot to mention the cable here. We've got a fabric sheath cable. It is pretty standard, but it's nice. It handles well, and it is a modular cable, and you get a 4.4mm balanced termination. That's this one in the box, along with a 3.5mm single-ended termination. So to wrap it up, the Moondrop Horizon, look, it's not setting any records. It's not going to be a game changer. But I think, having said all that, I think it's pretty good value. It's a good headphone. You can wear it all day long, super comfortable. And I would call the sound signature and the presentation super comfortable as well. It's just really laid back, really smooth, mid-forward, lush and sultry. And yeah, it's not a bad headphone at all. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. So thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Pa Family Audiophile Style. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button before you go. And until next time, I'll see you later.